Sup YouTube, this is Gehan here, back again on the Northeast Pro Jewelers channel, and today, or tomorrow or yesterday or whenever you've watched this video, we're going over our first request from xJBRRR, which is xJBRRR, or how you pronounce it, who requested we show how to build a samurai deck, or the basics of a samurai build. Just to give you a little background into it, Samurais first came out in Strike of Neos, and that was the original Samurais, and they managed to, I think they won Shonen Jump Championship back then, but only won during the Teledad era, and then they kind of fizzled out until, what was the pack? Storm of Ragnarok, where they resurfaced with the legendary 6 Samurai monsters, and exploded again. Largely due to the fact they had so much incredible support, and they're still a viable option right now. For those in the Northeast who know about the tournaments at Shadow Realm, the most prominent player to use Samurais is your YCS Sheffield Top 8-er, the Pro Bradley. So we're going to go over a build that is based on his. May not have all the cards that he ran. There may be some chopping and changing here, but it's a very basic sort of one that you want to look to base yours around. Obviously, we'll mention any sort of tweaks you can put in for yourself, but this is pretty much the core build that Pro Bradley had. As we go along, we'll explain what each of the cards do and what sort of things you should be looking to combo in with. Okay, we won't go into too many big details because when you get into the stuff with Gateway and 6 Sam United and you have to use counters and throwing them off for combos, it can get very complicated, so we could save that for another video later. For now, we'll just go over the cards in the deck and just the base of it, why they're there. So, to begin with, we have the one legendary 6 Samurai Kageki. Now, previously, it was running 3s to get you his effect, in case you didn't know, is much like Marauding Captain. When he's normal summoned, you can special summon one level 4 or lower 6 Samurai monster from your hand. So it's a special summon effect. So that lets you swarm the field, which is what Samurais do best. Now his other effect is often overlooked but can be useful. It's while you control another face-up 6 Samurai monster with a different name to him, this card gains 1500 attack. So he's got modest stats of 200 attack, 2000 defense, but that extra attack boosts him up to 1700, which can be the difference between game and not game. So I wanted him to start with. There are reasons why, and we'll go into that soon. Next thing you want, 2 Elder of the 6 Samurai. This guy is basically the Cyber Dragon of the deck. If your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, special summon it to the field from your hand. Dead simple. His stats aren't very good. 400 attack, 0 defense. Like Kageki, he's a 3-star monster, which will come into play and importance a bit later. So that's your next one. Next up, probably the key card of the deck. So you play it in 3 Kagemusha of the 6 Samurai. Basically, he is a tuner. Tuner monsters let you get into the synchros. Very important in this deck, as we'll see later on. Pretty modest stats, 400 attack, 1800 defense. But his effect is when you control one face-up 6 Samurai monster, or when one face-up 6 Samurai monster you control is targeted by a spell, trap, or monster effect as well. Is it? No. Yeah, I do apologise. Yeah, so, monster, spell, or trap. You can change the target to this card. So say you've got this guy on the field, and you want to protect him for some reason, and the opponent's targeted with Kaias. You can just say, nope, I'm going to target him instead. So very important for protecting the other 6 Samurai monsters as well. But the tuning aspect is probably the most important part. He will get you into the bigger stuff. Next thing, probably one of the only classic 6 Samurai monsters in the deck, and that is the 6 Samurai Zanji. one of the original ones. The reason he's in it is he's a target for asceticism, which we'll look into a bit later, as well as his effect being incredible in that it kills a lot of problem cards like the face-up Spirit Reaper, because you might not have enough attack to get over it, or it kills the face-up Snowman Eater, which effect is already used. So he's there. Next up we have another of the classic ones, Hand of the Six Samurai, 3-star, 1600, 1000. His effect is, or her effect is, while you control another 6 samurai monster, you contribute a 6 samurai monster, including itself, to destroy one monster on the field. So it doesn't matter if it's face up or face down. If you know your opponent's got that Spirit Reaper, or it's got that Snowman Eater that's bothering you, tribute away and you can get rid of it without any worries. And finally, the last of the classic 6 samurai monsters and a key component, Grandmaster of the 6 Samurai. He has been in every single samurai build ever, and if you're not playing him, as Bradley would say, you'll be in the crapper. Now, his effect, he's 2100 attack, 800 defense, 5-star. Now you might think, oh, that's not very good, need to tribute summon, but there's a reason for this, as we'll find out. Again, another negative of him is you can only control one Grandmaster of the 6 Samurai monster on the field. Okay? While you control a face-up 6 Samurai monster, you can, however, special summon him, so you don't need to tribute. The other good thing is, when this card is destroyed, you can get another. You can get a 6 Samurai monster from the graveyard back to your hand. So this comes onto the field. Let's say your field is like that. Special summoned, your opponent plays Torrential Tribute. Oh no, they're gone. But with Grandmaster's effect, you could get that back to your hand, or that back to your hand because it's in your grave, or if even needed, you can even get himself back. Now this even works under Bottomless Trap Hole. If he gets bottomless, it's destroyed. So if there's one in the graveyard, you can get it back. So Grandmaster, only play one though. That's all you'll need. The last of the monsters that you probably play is this guy, Legendary 6 Samurai Gehan. This guy is what I call Mini Grandmaster, because his effect is if you control a 6 Samurai monster other than himself, you can special summon this card. He has a secondary effect whereby if you control 2 or more face up 6 Samurai monsters, including himself, this card gains 300 attack and defense. And defense, often forgotten, bumps up to 800, so can protect you, you never know, but it puts him up to 2100 attack. Very important for swarming the field and going for the win, or even for X-seizing, or even for synchroing. So that's your monster lineup. Now, we're on to the spells and traps, and this is where samurais get interesting. First up, the key card, and it's only at 1 for a reason. Gateway of the 6 Samurai has multiple effects. Okay, what happens is each time a 6 Samurai monster is special summoned or normal summoned, you get to put 2 counters on it. And now, by removing 2 counters, you can boost up the attack of the 6 Samurai monster by, I believe, it's 500 attack points. Now, if you have 4 counters on it, you can remove 4 of them to get a 6 Samurai monster from your deck or your graveyard to your hand. So that's probably the most important part of it. Getting the monster to your hand, maintaining hand advantage, and even trying to special summon a lot. 6 counters from it, you can special summon 1 Gehan effect monster from your graveyards. That's Gehan, all one word, which is very important later on. The next card I've forgotten to add here is Reinforcements of the Army. You guys should know what it is. If not, easy enough to know what it looks like. It's got Marauding Captain on it, charging into battle. Its effect is bring to your hand from your deck 1 level 4 lower or level 4 or lower warrior type monster. Since all your monsters here are warrior types, you can pretty much get everything here except for Grandmaster. So that's a key card. Alongside that, you'll be want to play this. 2 Gehan smoke signal. Add 1 level 3 or lower 6 samurai monster from your deck to your hand. Dead simple. It's like a mini rotor that's specifically for them. So it helps you get into your monsters quicker, because your monster count might seem a little low, but you'll see you'll be able to get into them dead quick. Next thing, 3 6 Samurai United. This card is basically their pot of greed. How it works is, each time a 6 samurai monster is normal or special summoned, you get to add 1 counter to it. You can only have 2 counters max, and then what you do is you send it to the grave, and for each counter on it, you get to draw a card. So if there's 2 counters on it, you get to draw 2 cards. This card combos with Gateway of the 6 Samurai. So if you've got 2 counters on that and 2 counters on this, because they're both Bushido counters, you can use Gateway's effect for the 4 counters by taking 2 off that and 2 off that. Okay? These combos we'll go into a lot later in other videos, so that you can understand the best and optimal plays there if you want that. But for now, as I said, we'll look at the deck list. Next thing you want, 3 Asceticism of the 6 Samurai. This is another key card in the deck. What you have to do here is select 1 face-up 6 Samurai monster you control, and special summon 1 6 Samurai monster from your deck with a different name but equal attack to the one that you selected. Okay? During the end phase of the turn that you special summon that monster gets destroyed. Now it may seem confusing at first, but let's try to explain. Let's say you have Elder on the field. You play Asceticism on it. You need to find another 6 Samurai monster that's 400 attack. Now, but not Elder. So what do you have? You got Kagemusha, and this is where it comes in. It lets you special summon and go into your 5-star Xyz. Dead easy. Really quick. Another option, let's say it's not that. You could do it the other way around. Kagemusha is on the field. Asceticism, get this guy out. Synchro, not Xyz. Do apologise guys. I'm getting ahead of myself, but you'll see why in a moment. Synchro, get a level 5 out. Dead easy. But, let's say you have this guy out. Play your Asceticism on him. And you can get out... Where's he gone? This guy. And with that, okay, they're not tuned, so this guy might just get destroyed. Overlay, get a rank 4 Xyz monster. And here's another trick which a lot of people forget about. So you got both these guys out. You play, let's go a little step further. Let's say you got these 3 guys out. You play Asceticism on your Gehan. Maybe you've run out of targets. Now you'd think, oh, I'm not playing another one of these. Well, you couldn't get him out anyway because Gehan is now 2100 attack. So you can get your Grand Master out of your deck. Another little thing there. But as I said, we'll go into the combos a bit later regarding that. But Asceticism lets you special summon, get into your monsters quicker, get into the big guys for the win conditions. Okay. Next up, this is the Pro Bradley tech. 3 Upstart Goblins. Now, giving 1000 life points to your opponent may not seem like such a good thing, but what the card does in exchange is let you draw 1 card from your deck. Very important because you want to get into your deck as quick as you can, get your combo pieces out, and make those big guys to shut down your opponent. We'll look at the big guys in a moment, but 3 Upstart Goblins. Very important there, as Bradley's pointed out to us before. Next up, standard, a couple of Mystical Space Typhoons. Destroys 1 spell or trap on the field. You always want to get rid of back row against when you're using this deck, because it lets you go for attack without any fear of anything there. Next up, Book of Moon, classic. Select 1 face-up monster on the field, flip it face down. Simple enough. It could save your life. It could put down anything that's going to cause a problem to you. You could even flip your guy down if you want to protect it from, say, Mirror Force, for example. Monster Reborn. Do I need to say any more about that, really? You know what it does. Play it. Same for this guy, Heavy Storm. Now, I know a lot of people might think, why play Heavy Storm in this deck? Because you're playing a lot of back row. But Heavy Storm is crucial because it will clear the field, allowing you to go for that big push and hopefully gain. Dark Hole, again, clear the opponent's field, go for the big push. Your trap lineup now, Solemn Judgment, highly debatable about that, but I personally love it. How is it ever bad being able to negate anything pretty much? I know it's a big life point cost, but you can get around it in the Samurai deck due to the effects of your other big monsters which you might want to protect in the extra deck, which we'll look at in a moment. 2 Solemn Warning, so like Solemn Judgment but only for monster summons, making sure your opponent doesn't get out the really big things that can destroy you. Very, very important. Next up, 2 Bottomless Trap Holes. Again, if there's, well, we'll do 1 Bottomless Trap Hole here. You can choose 2, but in this case we've chosen to go 1 Trap Hole, 1 Dimensional Prison. So you can either go 2 Bottomless Trap Hole or 2 Dimensional Prisons. This is the reason why these in there. Remove your monsters, remove the opponent's monsters from play. You don't want them sitting in the grave so that your opponent has access to them a lot easier that way. You just want to get rid of them out of the way so you don't have to worry about them anymore. Next up, Musakani Magatama. This card is a counter trap, and it's essentially a Solemn Judgment for 6 Samurais specifically. The conditions is, activate only if you have a face-up 6 Samurai monster. When your opponent activates a spell, trap or effect monster's effect, which would destroy cards, so not just your monsters but your back row as well, or even their own if needed, negate the card's activation and destroy it. So if they try and Dark Hole your monsters, flip that, it'll destroy Dark Hole. If they try and... what monsters? Let's say Snipe Hunter? Would Snipe Hunter work? Does it send? I think it destroys. Not sure. But basically anything to do with destruction. Scrap Dragon is a prime example. They try and Scrap Dragon you, say no to that Scrap Dragon, get it off the field. Next one. 1 Double-Edged Sword Technique. Run more if you feel you could benefit from it. What it says is, select 2 6 Samurai monsters from your graveyard and special summon them in face-up attack position. Destroy them during the end phase of this turn and take damage equal to the attack of the destroyed monsters. What you use this for normally is to get monsters back, go for a big push, or synchro or Xyz with them. Very handy in the deck. Finally, this is controversial, but it's a Pro Bradley tech, which we advise. 2 Safe Zone. For those who don't know, what Safe Zone does is activate by selecting 1 face-up attack position monster. Very important. That monster cannot be targeted or destroyed by opponent's card effects, or be destroyed in battle. And this is a really important thing. I hope you're listening, Jake Quincy. It cannot attack your opponent directly. When this card is removed from the field, destroy the monster. When the monster is removed from the field, destroy this card. Very handy for keeping your Samurai monsters alive, especially what we're going to look at in your extra deck in a moment. Okay, so that's your main deck, pretty much sorted. It's approximately 40 cards. Now, the extra deck, this is where the Samurais are key. First and foremost, your key boss monster, Legendary 6 Samurai Shien. He's 5-star, requires a warrior type tuner, and 1 or more tuner 6 samurai monsters. So you can only make him using your 6 samurais. Effect is, once per turn, when your opponent activates a spell or trap card, you can negate its activation and destroy it. That's a massive effect. It basically is saying 1 spell or trap your opponent uses is never going to work, unless obviously it's counter trap. Coupled with this, you can let them play their Dark Hole, their Smashing Ground, anything like that, and he'll live, so you can stop any other spells or traps that worry you. The other effect, which is often overlooked, is if this face-up card on the field would be destroyed, you can destroy another face-up 6 samurai monster you control instead. So, Smashing Ground has gone and hit that, but you've got this guy on the field. You can say, no, he's not going to die, he is instead. Very handy keeping him alive, like that. Always try and make sure you keep him alive. He's going to be the key to a lot of games. Next up, Naturia Beast. Now, the most common way you're going to synchro is going to be with Kagemusha and Elder. Notice how they're both Earth types, which is what Naturia Beast requires. An Earth tuner and a non-tuner Earth monster. His effect is, while this card is on the field, you can send 2 cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard to negate the activation of a spell card and destroy it. First turn, going into this against your opponent is absolutely huge because they will not be able to get rid of it unless they have like monsters that can do so. All their spells and traps are negated pretty much at your will. Probably one of the best monsters, especially coupled with this. Okay, next up, the second Naturia monster, xJBRRR. Often summoned with Gehan and Kagemusha. This guy is like Naturia Beast, except he negates trap cards, but instead of sending it from the grave, from the deck to the grave, what you need to do is remove 2 cards from your graveyard to from play. So banish 2 cards from your graveyard from play. Next up, level 7, Naturia Landois. It's an optional card. I personally love it. Level 7, so that would be Kagemusha again, alongside Grandmaster of the 6 Samurai. Now, what this guy's effect is, when it's face up, you can send a spell card. It has to be a spell card from your hand to the graveyard to negate the activation of an effect monster's effect and destroy it. So essentially, if you can get these 3 on the field at the same time, your opponent can't do anything to you. Very difficult to do, but it's an option, especially if you're worried about decks that use lots of monster effects, like Monarchs for example. In terms of other synchro monsters, you probably need another level 5. Catasta's your best bet, so definitely put him in. You should know what he does, so no need to go into it too much, but essentially it will destroy a non-dark type monster in battle without applying damage calculation. Level 7, very important, Black Rose Dragon. That'll just wipe the field clear, letting you go for a big hit there. So that should be your next option in terms of synchros. There are other synchros you can use, Magical Android, TG Hyper Librarian, Stardust Dragon, Scrap Dragon, although very difficult to get out, are options as well. We'll move on to the Xy's now. Number 39, Utopia, using 2 level 4 monsters. Really powerful, considering you can just use 2 Kazans. It's got a huge attack, and it can protect you from any battles against big monsters until you can get like cards that will get rid of them, such as Cadasta for example. Also, number C39, Utopia Raise, another option. So if you've got less than 1,000 points, you can activate 1,000 life points. You can activate his effect, which can basically push for game against some really big monsters. Have a look into that. Again, some of these are optional choices. A Pro Bradley tech, Photon Papilloperative, 2 level 4 monsters. Once per turn, detach an Xyz material from this card to target 1 defense position monster on the field and put it in face-up attack. That monster loses 600 attack. Very handy against Spirit Reaper, which is a bane of this deck. Spirit Reaper is very hard to get rid of, and this basically allows you to get rid of it or turn it face up so you can attack for game. Next up, in terms of level 4s, Gemnite Pearl. Hasn't got an effect, 2 level 4 monsters, but it's big. 2/6, a think that is the biggest level 4 Xyz there is. Very handy in this deck as well. Another very key card new out there, Heroic Champion Excalibur. 2 level 4 warrior monsters. Once per turn you can detach 2 Xyz materials from this card, which will be what it starts off with, and you can double its attack until your opponent's next end phase. So for 2 turns he's a 4000 beat stick, and that could get you game. It's not often you'll want to go into this, but sometimes you might just set for that big monster to get over the opponent's huge guys. In terms of level 3s or rank 3s, you got Leviathan. He gets big because one of the problems you'll notice is the biggest things you normally have is 2-5, being your Leviathan and your Landois. Sorry, your Gehan and your Landois. This can go up to 3000, which will help. 1-up Zen mains, it's just a toolbox that can sit there, stall out, destroy stuff as well to aid you. And then Levier the Sea Dragon, in order to get back anything that's banished. Maybe if you had this guy removed from play via chain disappearance, get one back so you can synchro. So that's your extra deck looked at. You don't necessarily have to go with everything that we put in here. For example, in your main deck here, you might want to put an additional dimensional prison or an additional bottomless trap hole. You might even want to put more double-edged sword techniques so you can get stuff back from the grave quicker. As for the extra deck as well, you don't have to go with everything there. You might want to put, let's see, for example, Blade Armor Ninja. 2 level 4 monsters, gets to attack twice. You could put in Tempo, the Percussion Djinn, to get rid of Xyz which are bothering you. Steel Storm Roach, that'll just outright stop big guys that aren't Xyz monsters. And even Mindstroke, the Symphony Djinn, which can turn those monsters, the big ones, into face down defense position, make it a little bit easier to get over them. So, as we said, it's not, you chop it and change it, find what works for you, but essentially that is going to be your 6 samurai deck for the most part. Find what works for you. Everyone's playstyle is different. If you want more aggressive, you might want more monsters. If you want more control, you might want more spells or traps. Find what's best for you, but use this as a base, and hope you enjoy 6 Samurais. Take care, YouTube.